we have seen that one goal of monetary policy is to ensure stable prices in the United States. And recall that we have also learned the economic phenomenon called what? Inflation in the economy. And remember, we have introduced two ways to calculate the inflation rate, right? One way is use the so-called GDP deflator. And there's another way to calculate the inflation rate is to use the so-called consumer price index, CPI, right? So inflation rate measures overall or on average how fast prices are rising in the economy. So if the inflation rate is 1% in the year 2019, that means on average, everything is getting more expensive in the year 2019, right? By how much? By 1%. So that's the basic idea for inflation rate. And also keep in mind that wage is also part of inflation. If over time workers are making more and more money, right? Or wage is getting higher and higher over time, that also belongs to inflation. Why? Because wage is the price for labor. So who uses labor? Employers, businesses, right? Now they have to pay more money for the labor they use in their production, right? So wage, if people's wages are getting higher and higher, that is also part of the inflation phenomenon, because wage is the price for labor. So inflation measures how fast prices are rising over time in the general economy. So, but in general, moderate inflation is okay and inevitable. So that means if the inflation rate is 1% or 2% per year, right? It is completely normal, and we cannot avoid or completely eliminate inflation. So whenever we have economic growth, right? As I mentioned, you can think of a wage is tied to inflation. If people are making more and more money over time, we would expect the inflation rate to rise, right? So moderate inflation rate or moderate inflation, it is okay and it's inevitable. But out of control inflation or hyperinflation is bad in general. So central banks in the United States, the Federal Reserve System, right, sets monetary policies. One major goal is to ensure stable prices, because the central bank wants to set the monetary policy to avoid out of control inflation or hyperinflation. That means over a short period of time, right, prices are rising super quickly. So for example, if we have out of control inflation or hyperinflation, right? If you like drinking Coke, so today the price for each kind of Coke suppose is $1 per can, right? From vending machines, right? If we have out of control inflation or hyperinflation, the price for the same product, can of Coke, right, it's going to rise super fast. Today, $1 per can. Tomorrow, $2 per can. The day after tomorrow, $4 per can. The fourth day, $8 per can. See, the price gets doubled every day, right? And if the price rises so quickly, this is super unhealthy inflation or hyperinflation. This will be a disaster to the general economy. So central banks, they have to be super careful when conducting monetary policy, because they want to ensure one major goal of their monetary policy is to ensure stable prices. Prices can rise over time. It is inevitable. But they have to make sure prices can only rise in a smooth and a stable and a reasonable fashion. Okay, so that means there are costs associated with inflation, right? So that is why out of control inflation or hyperinflation, it is bad. Why? Because inflation is associated with costs. So our textbook in chapter 7, section 2, thoroughly discusses several causes of inflation, right? Here, I would like to emphasize 3. The first cause of inflation is called a fall in purchasing power. Remember, what's purchasing power? When we were talking about consumer price index, right? Purchasing power can be also thought of as the so-called spending power or real power of the money. So what's the purchasing power of your money? So suppose you have $100 cash, right? How powerful your money, your $100 bill, right, is? It depends, because as I mentioned before, if you're hungry, you do not eat money. If you're thirsty, you do not drink cash, right? But why you need money? Why you need cash? Because you can use paper money, right? It's Franklin, to buy food and drink. But how many food and beverages can you buy from the same piece of paper? If the price for each can of Coke is $1, right? Then $100 is going to get you 50 cans of Coke, ignoring sales tax. So the purchasing power of a $100 bill is 50 cans of Coke when the price is $1 per can. Suppose we have out of control inflation, which in a short period of time, right, maybe 24 hours or maybe 1 week, the price for each can of Coke has increased from $1 per can to $2 per can. Now, how powerful is your $100 bill? If the price for each can of Coke is $2, right? $100 can get you how many cans of Coke? 25. See, you can see, even though for the same paper money, for the same $100 bill, right? So the purchasing power of your $100 bill has strictly decreased due to what? Due to inflation, because the price for each can of Coke has increased from $1 per can to $2 per can, right? So now your $100 bill can only afford 25 cans of Coke instead of 50 previously. So that is one cause of inflation called a fall in purchasing power. You can buy less and less stuff with the same amount of money, US dollars. So that's the first cause. The second cause is called the shoe leather cause. So if we have out of control inflation or hyperinflation, prices are rising super fast during a short period of time, right? So that means your money is getting less and less valuable. The spending power of your money is declining quickly. Or, on the other hand, we can say prices are rising very quickly. Okay, so in this case, you probably have to run to your bank to withdraw more and more cash, right? And you want to spend your money as quickly as possible because the spending power of your money is declining quickly. Since you have to run to your banks, right, frequently to withdraw cash, and then you want to spend your cash before its value further declines, right? Probably this is going to cause some wearings on your shoes. So that's why this type of cost is called a shoe leather cost. Shoe leather cost, that means whenever we have out of control inflation or we have hyperinflation in the extreme case, you have to run your local banks frequently to withdraw cash and you want to spend those money before their value further declines. Another type of inflation cost is called manual cost. So what's manual cost? Here, for many local businesses, right, like a fast food, they post their price. For example, for each burger, right, the price may be $9 for double Whopper, $10 for triple Whopper, right? So they post the price on their billboards, right? If we have serious inflation or hyperinflation in the extreme case, prices are rising very quickly. That means the local burger joint owner has to update those prices, right, frequently. Probably they have to update those prices on a daily or in the worst case on an hourly basis, right? So remember, updating prices on your billboard is costly. It takes efforts, right? Probably you have to remake or redesign your billboard or menu. So that's why this type of cost caused by inflation called manual cost. That just means whenever we have serious inflation, right? Businesses, they have to spend efforts, probably money to update the prices printed on their menus super frequently. So this type of cost is called a manual cost. And of course, there's some other costs associated with inflation, and I'm not going to discuss them here, so you are recommended to read textbook chapter 7 section 2, the cost of inflation on the remaining costs. So this is for inflation, but remember, the Federal Reserve, the central bank, wants to make sure prices are stable. So inflation is over time, prices are rising or increasing, right? But there's another type of unstable price. It is called a deflation. So what is deflation? Probably you can guess. Deflation, just over time, prices are getting lower and lower over time, or things are getting cheaper and cheaper over time. So for example, if you go to Best Buy, you want to buy a new TV, and you want to buy a smart TV, and you want to buy this Samsung 65 inches class 7th series, right? The current price is $550. So what's deflation? Over time, prices are falling as opposed to rising. So if we have serious deflation, that means today you go to Best Buy, right? You go to this website, you check the price for the same Samsung TV. Its price is $550. Tomorrow morning, you check its price. This price may decrease to $540. And you wait for another day, price further declines to $530. And you wait for 1 week, its price dropped to $500. You wait for a month, its price dropped to $400. That's kind of like a typical example of deflation. Over time, price keeps falling. Okay, so this is called a deflation, the opposite to inflation. Is deflation good? It seems like it is good, right? From a consumer's perspective, the price for the TV is getting cheaper and cheaper, right? So you probably may be able to buy this TV by paying a super low price. It sounds good at the very beginning for deflation, but essentially deflation is just like out of control inflation. It is also bad to the general economy. That is why central bank, right? They want to make sure monetary policies are set to ensure stable prices. They do not, central bank does not like out of control inflation. Central bank does not like out of control deflation either. Why deflation is also bad? Because if the price for this TV is getting cheaper and cheaper over time, right? So in this case, consumers are smart. So consumers are going to play the so-called waiting game. So every consumer wants to buy a new TV, right? They are not going to buy a TV right now. They are going to delay their spending into the future. Why? Because they are expecting to pay a much lower price for the same product in the future. So consumers are going to delay their consumption, their spending in the future. They won't spend money right now. But from the other side of the equation, think for Best Buy, right? If all consumers, they are delaying their consumption to the future, they won't buy anything from Best Buy right now. It is good news or bad news to Best Buy. It is definitely bad news for business, right? Because no customers they want to spend money at your business right now because they are all playing the waiting game. They are waiting for the price to drop, hopefully eventually to zero, right? Then they can get a TV for free from Best Buy. This is bad news because consumers are delaying their consumption, their spending to the future. Nobody wants to spend the money right now. And that means businesses, right, they cannot make any money because nobody buys stuff from them, right? But running a business like a Best Buy, right? Best Buy has to pay for its own business bill. Best Buy had to pay for its employees. Best Buy had to pay for insurance and all kind of stuff, right? But Best Buy still had to pay for all those business expenditure. But Best Buy cannot make any sales due to the waiting game consumers are playing in the presence of deflation. So eventually, probably Best Buy is not going to make ends meet. So before the day comes when consumers can get this TV at a super low price, Best Buy is going to file for bankruptcy first. If this business files for bankruptcy, right, it is bad news because Best Buy is going to disappear from the general economy. And the Best Buy is going to lay off all of the employees, right? So many employees, they lose their job due to the bankruptcy of Best Buy, which is caused by deflation, right? So many employees, if they lose their jobs, right, their salary, their income is going to decrease. Then they are going to have trouble paying for their consumer bills, right? So that's why deflation, it is also bad to the general economy. So that's why overall monetary policy is very important. And the central bank conducts monetary policy, right, to make sure to promote stable prices, to make sure we do not have out of control inflation or deflation in our current economy.